Welcome to class today. My name is Crystal, and we'll be here for roughly 50 minutes in this Vinyasa class. So everybody looks to be sort of in a reclined, seated position while we all come into child's pose. And so we'll all come down on the mat. Some of you are already there. Start to sit the heels back, maybe part the legs a little bit. You can have arms by your side, or for a more active child's pose, hands can go straight in front of you, arms can go long. If you have this pose, go ahead and stretch the fingers out. Put some space into the fingers. Forehead is on the mat. Maybe give the forehead a little massage, rolling it back and forth on your mat. And here, just take a few breaths before we get started. And if I had to name the theme of our class today, I would say it's resiliency. It's a lot going on in the world right now, and probably feels like you need to be resilient just to wake up in the morning. So we'll do a lot of warrior poses. A lot of warrior poses. And just go ahead and continue in your child's pose. Massage the forehead back and forth along the mat. Continue taking those deep inhales, deep exhales. Again, arms can be along the side. They can be straight in front of you. And as we move through the class, child's pose is always available. So as I mentioned, this is a Vinyasa class, and it's Vinyasa because we'll try to flow our poses together, and so it can get intense at times. So I invite you to come back to child's pose at any time and join us again when you're ready. Couple more breaths in child's pose, and then we will rise to table. And here in table, take any movement that is comfortable for you, any movement that serves you right now. So maybe you move side to side, maybe you take the hips back and forth, all the way around, getting into some of those spaces that we don't utilize on a daily basis. So if you're going around with the hips, make sure you go in both directions, getting a good stretch. You feel it in the upper back, maybe along the shoulders, shoulder blades. And when you're ready, let's come back to our neutral table. And here we'll just take a few cat-cows. And with our cat-cow, we're going to inhale, drop the belly, gaze goes to the sky for cow. Exhale, round the back, gaze goes down for cat. Inhale, dropping the belly, gaze is up for cow. Exhale, round the back. And continue with your cat and cow using your own breath as a rhythm. Inhaling for cow, exhaling for cat. Let the gaze follow. Good. And we'll come back to a neutral table. And here, let's go ahead and thread the needle. And so here, we'll let the right arm float up to the sky. Maybe we twist the body a little bit. Look at that hand and bring hand, arm back down behind left arm. Let the shoulder meet the mat, side of the face is on the mat. Your left arm can stay where it is, or maybe you take a half bind, take the left arm behind the back, like you're putting your hand in your right hip pocket. Right shoulder is on the mat. And when you find this shape, just breathe. If you have the half bind, left hand finds the mat. On an inhale, right hand folds back up to the sky and back down to the mat. And we'll do the other side. On an inhale, take the left arm up, gaze will follow. And gently bring the left arm behind the right. Shoulder finds the mat, cheek finds the mat. You can stay here, or on this side, you can take the half bind, let the right arm reach behind, like you're trying to find left hip pocket. And let's breathe here. If you have the half bind, let the right hand find the mat. And again, we'll float the left arm back up and sit it down next to the right hand again. And maybe we start to move once again in our table pose. Takes a few more breaths here. And let's come into a balancing table. And here with balancing table, we want to stretch out the right arm right in front of us. And you can turn your palm in as if you're about to shake someone's hand like we used to do. When you feel steady, we're doing the opposite leg. So left leg will reach long behind you. Here, flex the foot. Try and make sure the spine is in line, so neck, head, crown of the head is reaching forward. Leg is lifted from the hip. Right shoulder is lifted. Take another breath. And exhale your limbs back to the mat. And here again, maybe we move the hips from side to side, moving on to the left or the other side. On your next inhale, left arm reaches in front. That palm is facing the right. When you feel steady, this time the right leg reaches long behind you. Flex the foot here. Crown of the head is reaching forward, just like left hand. And get long in those opposite limbs. Take another breath. And right leg, left hand, find the mat. And let's move the hips again from side to side. So take a few breaths here before we go to our first downward dog. Again, maybe you move the hips. Maybe you take a few more cat-cows. We'll take 4 breaths here before we move into our standing poses. When you're ready, come back to neutral table. And on an inhale, move to downward dog. This is our upside down V shape. Once in this downward dog, you can pedal out the feet. And the heels do not at all need to meet the mat. They're just moving in that direction. Let the head drop heavy, neck is long. Maybe you move here from side to side in your downward dog. Come back to neutral. Let your gaze look in between the hands, come to the toes, and we'll walk to meet the hands to the front of our mat. Once you're here, you can grab opposite elbows. Maybe you sway from side to side here. Remember to drop the head. Nice. Get nice and heavy. You don't want to hold any tension. Relax the jaw. Maybe you close the eyes. If you have the bind with the elbows, release the elbows. Let the arms drop heavy. And on an inhale, come to halfway lift. Flat back, fingertips find the shins. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale all the way up. Arms are floating to the top, reaching up to the sky. Maybe here, we'll take a baby back bend. And on an exhale, fall, hinge forward all the way back down. Inhale for halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. And on your next inhale, float the arms up above to our standing mountain pose, Tadasana, arms reaching up. Put some space between the fingers. Maybe the gaze goes up. Look at the hands. Take a baby back bend. And take an inhale. And exhale, hinge forward all the way back down. Take 2 breaths here. Take a halfway lift to flat back. Exhale, fall forward. And let's move to a high plank pose. Here, shoulders are over wrist. Neck is long. You don't want to look up. Chin is neutral. And slowly lower all the way down. Belly finds the mat. Good. Here, your hands are on either side of the chest or rib cage. And we'll come to a baby cobra. So we'll just pull the chest up just a little bit. Look up. Take a breath. Exhale, back down. Let's do that one more time. Take an inhale to baby cobra and exhale back to the mat. Let's curl the toes. Take an inhale, exhale, then move through plank or maybe table back to downward dog. We'll take 3 breaths in downward dog. After your 3rd breath, we'll walk, hop, or float to the top of our mat, coming to the toes. And again, we'll meet in a forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Take another inhale, all the way, arms reach overhead, and bring the hands to prayer, heart center. And breathe. On your next inhale, arms are back overhead. Take a breath. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, back to plank. And again, let's find the mat. Belly meets the mat. And we'll come back to these. We have a couple of flows to do. And so I'll cue a vinyasa. And when we do that, you can either take your cobra, which is just peeling the chest up off the floor, but you can leave the belly on the floor, or you can take an upward dog. Upward dog is that the arms are going straight, but the legs are also off of the floor for upward dog. Either one, or you don't have to take a vinyasa. You can go straight to downward dog. So here, let's find the belly on the floor. Take an inhale, either to cobra or upward dog, and exhale to downward dog. We'll take 4 breaths in downward dog. Nice downward dogs. Head is heavy. Neck is reaching down. Continue to breathe. On your next inhale, let's float the right leg up behind us. Breathe. Take an inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale the right leg back up. Take a breath and then step the right leg to meet the feet, to meet right hand. We're in a low lunge, but we'll spin the left leg back to come into our warrior one, Virabhadrasana. Right leg is in front, thighs parallel to the floor. That left foot is on the back of the mat. The entire sole of the foot is on the floor, so that outer edge of our left foot is in contact with the floor. Take another breath and let the hands meet the mat. Cartwheel them back to the floor. Right leg reaches back to meet the left. And here you can take a vinyasa or meet us back in downward dog. Go to a low plank, either cobra or upward dog. Curl over the feet and we'll meet back in downward dog. Nice. Take another breath. On your next inhale, left leg goes up. Left leg comes in, knee to nose. Lift leg back up. Take a breath. And exhale the left leg down the center. Coming to warrior one on the left side. So left leg is out in front. Right leg, right foot, the back of the mat. About a 45-degree angle. We've got that right foot. Take another breath. And cartwheel hands back to the floor. Left leg goes back to meet the right. And here you can either take a vinyasa or meet us back in downward dog. Inhale, exhale to downward dog. And we'll take 4 breaths here. If you want, you have time to take some water. And we're going to add on to our warrior one. Couple more breaths here in downward dog. On an inhale, let's rise to the toes. In your walk, step, or float to the front of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, float the arms all the way up overhead, Tadasana. Hands come down to heart center to prayer. And take a breath. On an inhale, arms float back up overhead. We'll take a baby back bend, hinge all the way, folding forward. Hands toward the feet. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Here we can go to Chaturanga, which is our low plank, and take a vinyasa, or meet us back in downward facing dog. When you come to downward facing dog, we'll take 3 breaths there. And we're going to add on to our warrior one. So on an inhale, right leg lifts. And on the exhale, bring the right leg through to meet right hand. Spin the left leg, foot back flat. Come up to your warrior one. So here, we want to make sure that we're squaring the hips to the front. That right thigh is parallel to the ground. Left foot is at about a 45-degree angle. Breathe into this position, this pose. And on an inhale, we're going to come into a standing split. So start to hinge forward, over right leg, right knee. Let the hands fall on either side of the right foot. Start to put a baby bend, additional bend in that right knee, and kick left leg up behind us to come into standing split. And breathe here. Take an inhale. Maybe on your exhale, you try and lift the leg a little higher. Inhale, try to lift the leg a little higher. Maybe you play around with balance here. Maybe take one hand off the floor, off the ground, and come to the ankle. Maybe you take both. But we're breathing into this pose. And then we're going to add on one more pose. We'll come into half moon. So left leg is still lifted. Right hand is on the floor, but this time we'll start to peel the chest over to the left. Flex the left foot. Now we're just balancing on right foot, right hand. Left arm reaches up to the sky. Maybe our gaze goes with the left hand. Maybe we're still looking at the ground. Wherever you are, try to breathe into this pose. We talked about the theme of today being resiliency. That's the ability to rebound, to recover, to keep going. So continue to breathe. Take another breath and gently come back into our warrior one. Left leg is behind us, right knee bends. Arms are back up. Take a breath and cartwheel the hands back to the ground. Right foot meets left. Lower slowly to the belly. We come into cobra, or maybe you come into upward dog. Take a breath. On your exhale, find your dog, downward dog. And let's take 4 breaths here. We'll do the left side, and then we've got a nice child's pose waiting for us. Take a breath. On an inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left leg to the front of the mat to meet left hand. Back foot turns flat at a 45-degree angle, and rise to Virabhadrasana, Warrior One. And breathe into this space. The knee is over the ankle, thigh is parallel to the ground. Maybe you play around with balance and close the eyes here. We're coming into standing splits. So start to hinge forward. It may help to come on the ball of the back foot as we hinge forward. Let the hands find either side of left foot. Once you feel steady, start to lift that right leg and let the head fall heavy. Try to release any tension you may be holding across the brow, maybe in the jaw. Try to soften the muscles of the face. Continue to breathe. Inhale, maybe on your exhales, that back leg, lifted leg gets a little higher and you can hinge a little deeper. If you found your edge, just hold that pose and breathe. And we're going to go into our half moon. So left leg again, left foot is on the ground. Left hand is by left foot. We start to turn the torso to the right. Keep the right foot flexed to help with balance. Maybe you stay there with the hand on the hip. Maybe you take the arm all the way up to the sky so the arms are almost in like a T position. If you have the space, you can look up to right hand, look down, wherever you are. Try and hold this pose looking at something steady. If you come out of it, just get back in. Take another breath, and then we'll gently let the right leg fall behind us, coming back into our warrior one. Arms are up overhead, left leg is forward. Take an inhale, then cartwheel the hands back to the mat, and let's move into a child's pose. Nice work. Go ahead, big toes can touch. Maybe you part the knees, giving the hips a nice stretch from our split pose and half moon. Let the forehead find the mat. Maybe you give the forehead a little massage. You can have the arms straight ahead to stretch out the shoulders, or you can have them by your side. And we'll take 5 more breaths here in our child's pose. Nice deep inhales and exhales. When you're ready, we'll meet in downward dog. You can go to table first, then push up to downward dog. This is our last flow. Take a breath. Come to the balls of the feet, and then step, hop, or float to the front of the mat. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. And on your next inhale, we'll come to Utkatasana chair pose. And so drop the seat. Maybe you have the big toes together. You can also take this posture with the feet hips width apart, whatever is comfortable. The arms are up by the ears. Take an inhale, maybe an exhale, drop a little deeper. Inhale, maybe exhale, drop a little deeper. Let's swing the arms behind us. Come to the balls of the feet. Looking down like we're on a ski slope. Take another inhale. and come back to our neutral seat pose. Take an inhale and fall forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. And let's go to chaturanga. High plank to low plank in here. You can take a vinyasa or meet us back in downward dog. Once in downward dog, we're going to inhale, right leg lift, and we'll take the right leg all the way through, staying on the ball of the left foot, and inhale to our crescent pose. So here, again, we're on the ball of the left foot. You don't want to overextend the knee, so right knee is over, right ankle. Take a breath here, and we're going to come into majorette. So start to get lighter in the left foot, heavier in the right. Maybe you need to bend down a little bit or get deeper. Using the core, take an inhale and bring the left leg up to majorette. Nice. Once in majorette, flex the foot. Take a breath here. In these balancing poses, it sometimes helps to look at something steady, but if you fall out of it, just come right back in. Really work the thigh here, making sure that that lift is happening from the hip. And here we're going to come into our warrior three. So start to hinge forward. Left leg is reaching out long behind you. Sometimes people call this airplane pose. When we have the arms out in front, this is our warrior three. You can have a little bend in that right leg. Left leg is long behind you, foot is flexed. Maybe you bring the arms to the side, like a T or like an airplane. Maybe you bring them to the side body. Or maybe you keep them forward. But make sure you find a spot where you can look at on the ground. Nice, it's not moving. Take another breath here. And gently come back to crescent pose. Still on the right side. Take another breath, cartwheel the hands back to the ground, let the right foot meet left, and take a vinyasa. Or back to downward dog, and we'll take that flow on the left side. Take a breath on the inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot next to left hand. Stay on the ball of the right foot and come into your crescent pose. And you want to make sure that back leg is strong, that it's doing the work to keep you balanced. So sometimes it helps to come really up high on the ball of the foot to keep you steady. Take a breath here in our crescent pose, and we're going to come again into majorette. So take an inhale, and right foot lifts to majorette. We put a flex in that right foot. Find something steady. Get comfortable in the pose. And again, we're going to warrior three. So we'll start to hinge forward. Front torso body is coming forward. That right leg is reaching long behind us. Foot is still flexed. You should feel like one long line from the right leg to the spine to the crown of your head. The arms can reach long. They can go out to a T, like that airplane pose. They can come to the side. Again, if you fall out of the pose, come back in it. Wherever you are, Try to find a little stillness. Take another breath. And we'll gently drop that right leg behind us, coming back into our crescent pose. Take a breath and cartwheel the hands back to the ground, and let's find a child's pose. And if you want a vinyasa, it's fine, but we're just going to take a couple breaths. We'll take that flow through one more time before we come into some core twisting work. Take a couple more breaths in child's pose. And when you're ready, we'll meet in downward dog. Good. Once you're in downward dog, let's take an inhale. Right leg goes up behind us. Exhale, right leg forward. On the ball of the back foot, come into crescent. This time, let's bring the hands to prayer, heart center, and let's do a twist to the right, hooking left elbow over right thigh. We'll stay here for a couple breaths. Inhale, back up to center, crescent. Thigh is parallel to the floor. Take another breath, come into majorette. Flexing that left foot, reaching long. Take a breath and start to hinge forward for our warrior three. Hinge forward, torso parallel to the floor, left leg is lifted. Flex the foot for balance. Find something on the floor that's not moving. Take another breath here. This time, let's come back to majorette. So we're moving back up, standing position, leg is lifted. Take a breath and gently, this time, step the leg back to crescent. We're on the ball of the left foot. Take a breath and cartwheel the hands back down to the ground and take a vinyasa. On an inhale, we'll do on the other side. Left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot to left hand. Rise to crescent. Arms go overhead. Maybe you take a baby back bend. If you really want to challenge yourself, maybe you try to close the eyes. Nice crescents here. We'll take the hands back to heart center so we can take that twist on the left-hand side. Take a breath and let the right elbow hook around left thigh for our twisted crescent. Take a breath. Inhale back to center. Arms are back overhead for crescent. Get comfortable in the pose. Maybe you bounce up and down a little bit. You're on the ball, strong of that right foot. When you're ready, take an inhale and we'll meet again in majorette. Lifting that right leg, right knee, flex the foot. Take a breath. And start to hinge forward as we come into warrior three. Arms are parallel, right leg is long behind us, the foot is flexed. Maybe this time, hands come to heart center. Hands can be at your side, whatever helps you with your balance. Because what we're really doing is strengthening the thighs and the legs. So wherever helps you with your balance. This time, take an inhale. We're going to come back to majorette. Lift right leg. Arms go up overhead. Take a breath. And we will gently step back to our crescent pose. Take another breath and cartwheel the hands back to the ground. Let's take a vinyasa here, slowly coming to the ground, peeling the chest up for upward dog. Roll over the toes to downward dog. And then we'll come seated on the mat. Nice work. When we're seated on the mat, let's come to bound angle, where we'll have the soles of the feet together. If this is comfortable for you, it may be easier to have the soles out a little more. Maybe you bring them in, wherever you are. In bound angle, let's lean back here. In bound angle, recline bound angle. Maybe you put one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest, as we quiet down our breathing from all of our work. We have just a little more to do, but we can take a few moments to get centered. Come back to the breath. Watch the length of your inhales and exhales, trying to make them about the same. On your next inhale, let's take the knees into the chest. Massage the back a little bit, rolling from side to side. Maybe you drop the knees to one side. Maybe drop the knees to the right. Put your arms out like a T if you have the space. If not, you can do cactus arms. And turn the head, your gaze to the left if it's comfortable for you. We'll feel a stretch, a twist in the left side body. If you want a deeper stretch, whatever leg is on top, maybe you take the ankle and stack it on top of the bottom knee for a deeper stretch, or you can stay where you are. Head is facing the opposite direction and just breathe. On your next inhale, bring the knees back in and drop them off in the other direction. Take the torso, the gaze, if you have the space, and look in the opposite direction of the knees. Again, for a deeper stretch, maybe you take the top ankle and move it closer to the knee, or you can stack knees. Either way, you're getting a nice stretch in the right side body. And continue to breathe. On an inhale, bring the knees back into the chest. Maybe you move from side to side again, giving the spine a little massage. Let's bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Knees are bent so we can come into our bridge pose. So bring the heels as close as you can to the glutes. Arms are by your sides. And on an inhale, we'll lift up to bridge. So hips, low back, all raised to the sky. tighten up the core, squeeze in the glutes. And in this pose, maybe you wiggle in the shoulder blades and clasp the hands under you. And that should give you a little more height on your bridge. Once you're there, just take a few breaths. And if full will is in your practice, feel free to take full will. And here the hands will come by your ears, fingers pointing to the back, elbows reaching to the sky, and you can lift up. Nice. Nice bridges, nice choices. Okay, let's go ahead, take a breath, and unclasp the hands if you have them. Let the hips find the mat. And let's window wiper the legs to either side. Window wiper the knees, wash that away. Continue to breathe. And one more thing before we go to our final resting pose. Let's all come up on our sit bones. And we'll do some boat poses. So here, you can have the heels on the mat, if you see, and the toes are flexed. Or if you have the space, you can lift the legs parallel to the ground. Or you can go all the way up in a V. Okay, so plenty of options here in our boat pose. Let the heart shine here. Roll the shoulders back. Wherever the legs are, we're going to do 5 crunches of our boat, coming in from high boat to low boat. So this is our high boat. We'll lower the legs, lower the chest for low boat. Everything goes down. Back to high boat. Inhale, exhale to low boat. High boat. Low boat. 2 more. High boat. Exhale to low boat. 1 more. Inhale to high boat. Exhale to low boat. And let's lower all the way to the ground. Maybe bring the knees in to the chest again. Wrap the arms around the shins. And let's give the spine a massage after that boat work. Here we have another minute or so to come into any pose that might serve you at this time. Maybe you take another bridge pose. Maybe you take happy baby, getting a stretch in the legs, the thighs, and the hips. Maybe you again take bound ankle. Whatever serves you. Great. Maybe you take feet up the wall or shoulder stand. Nice choices. When you're ready, if you are in shoulder stand, when you come out of it, we are going, wherever you are, we are going to our final resting pose. So let the legs go long on your mat. Maybe arms are right next to your sides. Maybe again you take one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest. Let's all take a big inhale and sigh it out the mouth. One more time. Big inhale through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. And take rest. let's start to bring a little movement back into the body. Maybe you move the head from side to side. Start to wiggle the toes. Move the fingers. Take an easy curl to one side of your mat. Maybe use your hands as a pillow here. Take a couple breaths. You can use one hand when you're ready to push yourself up and find a seat at the top of your mat. Let the hands come to prayer. Let's take our hands up to the forehead. Remind us to be mindful of our thoughts. Move the hands to lips. Be mindful of what we say. And finally, bring the hands back to heart center. Thank you for allowing me to share your practice. Namaste. Hi, Sissy, I know you gotta run.